I'm just going to run through bullet points, make quick statements, try and keep this video small. I still have the 3 parts of Nature Walk to upload, but I'm not going to bother with those until tomorrow when I go to work and set them going. So tomorrow night those should be up. Let's see. In politics, I've not seen any major headlines today on anything. Tomorrow is the Maricopa presentation. From what I understand, we could expect a report from the Senate sometime next week because I believe they've all already seen everything. This presentation is simply for the record. After that, their report, which is probably already concocted, will be released officially. And I kind of have a feeling all hell's going to break loose after that. Because they're going to give a blueprint, they're going to give a lot to the other states that are also going to do the same. And here's the thing. All of the detraction from the process that was just done several months ago, that they're collated the information or whatever, finished processing and produced their final reports. All of the detraction from that is that there is inaccuracy, that it is biased, that it's political, that the people doing it don't have credibility. All of that has been addressed by the state senate. And the reality is, if you are believing that that audit in Arizona, if you've been following it and you're believing that it is a sham, you've been propagandized to disregard the truth. And you obviously don't know what you're talking about if you're seriously believing that, because it's very simple to find out how secure they were about it and to realize that this, as one of the senators said, she had some people that were visiting to oversee or just take a look or whatever that were ex-military, retired, that were like, I had nuclear codes and the security here is tighter. And when people are saying things like that have the experience, they're being honest about it, you can trust that. So this is not, some dude being paid on TV. This is an anecdote from somebody, but you can probably trust this is true in this case. So they've attempted to construct as legally airtight as possible an example of proof for the purpose of court, because they know there are going to be lawsuits. They have attempted to anticipate every form of resistance to this. And what they're going to present is probably going to be one of the most scientifically, statistically accurate election counts, if not the most accurate ever done. As far as making sure that everything that ain't supposed to be there ain't there, and everything that is supposed to be there is there, and then saying, okay, now given that, this is the result. If you think your elections prior to this one have been so accurately counted, you are misinformed or deceiving yourself. If you actually know how this process works, you know that accuracy is not exactly involved. They just assume an estimation based on the size of the numbers that, something close is good. It's basically what you get. And inside that, there's a lot of wiggle room, and inside that wiggle room, what wiggles is a word you cannot say on YouTube. Oh, medical things in the news. This is 2 distinct categories. One is as far as what science research study versus what TV doctors are saying. There's nothing in particular to say that probably hasn't already been said, but they really need to get into accepting natural immunity. That would be the right thing to do. The wrong thing to do would be to continue to impose medical tyranny. And I'll tell you why in a second. So, locally, it looks like in the state of Iowa, the governor uh, either made a decree or signed a law or something that was supposed to basically say on a state level schools are not going to be required to follow the federal mandates for masking and vaccines. Because a lot of places, and especially with the federal orders included, like if you're going to be in Zoom class, you still got to get the shot. Like, that doesn't make sense. That's like saying you need to wear your mask while you're on camera in a room by yourself because there's other people on the camera. They might see you. Like, how psychotic is that? So, the local school district here has said that there will be a mask mandate. Thing is, you got the oldest municipality west of the river. The oldest municipality in the state. The state is the first in the country when it comes to primaries. And this county seat, which was formerly the territorial capital 150 some odd years ago, what did they say, founded in 1803, is a political hotspot. There is a lot of media propaganda with targeted demographics here, among other places. But propaganda-wise especially, it hits here really hard. There's a lot of people around here that are, for lack of a better term, zombified. So you'll see some people masked up, some people not. You'll get some people, the social media thing is ridiculous. That's why I got off of it. The locals around here on social media are, I just don't even want to get into it. So, and the more you fight it, the worse it gets. It's like quicksand. So the thing is there's a lot of people around here that are very susceptible to suggestion in that sense. But there's a lot of other people that really aren't. You got to know the locals to know the kind of local stubbornness. And what you might think is apathy is not really apathy. It's just disregard, I guess you could say. So what I'm wondering is, what is it going to look like? Are the student body at the local schools going to obey or disobey? Are they going to risk all getting kicked out? Are they all going to be like, well, we got to be good little followers? How many are going to do the actual looking into the actual studies, the real research, do their homework on it, as it were, and come to the same kind of conclusion that I came to, that the good TV doctor came to in private, though not in public, when it first started. Because that kind of accurate and empirical science yields information like natural immunity. It yields information like a number of generic over-the-counter type, very cheaply available things, supplements, drugs, whatever, that can be helpful, that are one by one being taken off the market so that some synthetic analog version with a patent and a higher profit margin for its patent holder will be released. That kind of thing makes me wonder who's going to put up with what for how long, and you can't do a whole lot about, you can develop a black market for health supplements, prohibition didn't work, we knew that, but they keep trying to do it. Bootlegging was a thing. So that leads us to that whole right way, wrong way thing. Let's talk about the wrong way. Australia has done it the wrong way. Canada has done it the wrong way. England did it the wrong way. Most of Europe did it the wrong way. New York's doing it the wrong way. California's doing it the wrong way. Illinois is trying to do it the wrong way, but a lot of them are rural that, I don't know. Not really sure what's going on in Illinois these days. Um, in Australia, the labor unions are still protesting. They are being propagandized against in smear campaigns by the state-controlled media, as Australia has gone full fascist, as New Zealand did previously. That is two of the Five Eyes countries, the ones who use the Echelon program to basically monitor all telecommunications for keywords out of dictionaries. The Australian culture is basically that you don't want to be a rich rock star, you don't want to be a famous whatever, you want to be like a skilled tradesperson with a solid income and build a good future, which is respectable. I 100% can dig that. And but culturally, in a lot of ways, they kind of are into the 1950s, but rather than go for a summer of love in the 60s just yet, they've gone, because there's no Vietnam War kind of thing going on, they are resisting the mandates by unions. And all the tradespeople are about to go on strike, which means a ton of their economy is just going to halt. And at the same time, there's enough of them. I don't think they're going to back down to the cops. There are a vastly lot more of the protesters than there are law enforcement. Same kind of things going on in London and in Milan. France has just been having protests. Everybody there hates their government. Romania. All over Europe, people are saying enough is enough. In Australia, they're chanting every day, over and over again. And in New York, they're chanting, "Wake up, New York." There are large crowds of protesters in New York as well. Speaking of protests, new footage of January 6th was released, and it is a bunch of people exiting a movie theater as far as the flow from the door goes. Not like exiting a theater in panic, but just, scuttling through the door. Whole bunch of nothing. Some of that, it's just a minute-long snippet of an hours-long experience that was probably covered by 1,000 cameras. The comprehensive view of which would show a bunch of people effectively moving as if they were exiting a movie theater throughout most of the capital, and a couple of people doing shit for attention. Current polls show that pretty much everybody realizes that Biden is not competent to be president, but that they also recognize that they've kind of put themselves into the position of having a vice president that ain't going to do anything about it, and a Speaker of the House that ain't going to do anything about it, and a Congress that ain't going to do anything about it. Hashtag what a relief. Hashtag thank God it's not Orange Man. That's about all I got. World's doing stupid things like the world does. People are hopefully waking up. Seems like a lot of people are in other places, but around here, I don't know. On the other hand, around here we have that Second Amendment that those other places don't have. They've all been disarmed, and they are all protesting by shouting and throwing rocks and bottles. Around here, everybody's armed. But at the same time, around here, everybody's pretty damn propagandized still. Maybe, I don't want to say that the fact that everybody's armed keeps the government at a certain distance, and because it's at certain distance, it's able to basically tread water and have this hover pattern of light propaganda that just keeps people all the time. I don't know. World's turning, seasons are changing, leaves doing the things they do. That's all the news I got. If something else big happens or comes up or whatever, but basically we're kind of waiting for tomorrow. There's going to be a presentation. It's supposed to have live stream. That means people can talk about it. And after that, we're going to find out what all is said, what all was done, what all can be done in the future, because I think we're going to be looking at criminal referrals in Maricopa. We're going to be looking at people resigning their posts. I think you're going to see new laws so that the election can't be toyed with next time in that state. And as they're doing that as the model, they're also going to be presenting that to other states to use. And those other states are going to modify as well. And hopefully eventually here we will have a seriously legislated electoral process that will, like, you know, these are the rules, this is how you must do it, it must be transparent, and if it's not done this way, it's not valid, period. And that then the courts can rule on it. They have to be specific in their verbiage. A lot of the older laws were very openly worded. They seem nebulous. That's why legalese is so confusing. It can be a very specific and logical language, but at the same time, sometimes when they're setting laws, they are extremely vague. They're like, we know the rule needs to be here. We know it needs to pertain to this, and you know, they will use they'll, you know, it's like you need to be very confident as opposed to really confident or moderately sure. And it's like, okay, so wait, so now you have to define all of these terms and then put them on a some kind of a spectrum of qualification, which is not objective. And rules for transparency in an election can be very specific and precise. The vote shall be counted in the following ways. So-and-so shall present this to this, and it will be recorded thusly. This shall be made available for all to you know, to canvass or whatever. That now that they're seeing what opposition they're coming up against, they're going to model the laws to fit that and still be able to keep it transparent. And at the same time, there will be further lawsuits, which means that maybe the higher courts can rule things that will change precedents so that you know, well, it says you can't do that because, well, we're going to change the precedent and say that due to this, it's necessary. And it's not an infringement because we are guaranteeing when it comes to things like the audit people couldn't do the canvass, but private individuals who were registered voters who voted in the election in the state, in that county, were legally allowed to canvass. So, you know, things like that. They're going to pay attention to stuff like that and make sure that it becomes more opportune without without opening further availability to harass or intimidate as well, because that was the thing that was used against them. So anyways, that's all I got. This is going to upload today. I'm going to upload stuff tomorrow. I'm going to go out and, I think, split wood and do whatever today. So everybody have a good Thursday.